Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So we were expecting like whole bunch of people here sitting with us, and then we are presenting. But anyways, there are lots of sessions going on in parallel. So I think that's the reason we see very few people here. So thank you for joining us, and we are starting with this session. Let me start with a quick introduction. So we have with us Eric. Eric is a IT project manager in GC International. This is Anubhav Gupta. He is a senior product manager based in London, and Eric is from Switzerland, by the way. I'm Reena Tripathi, the account director, and I'm based in London. So we three of us will be presenting together, and we are going to talk more about the digital transformation journey, which we have done for GC, and this is mainly for the Japan region. And for other regions, we are going to talk about what else we have done. Okay, so this is for contribution. I think this is important piece. Open source, Drupal is open source, and we should definitely contribute as much as possible. And you may be aware that material is like in the top 10 of contributing to Drupal. So we request everyone to do lot more and more contribution to the open community. All right. So about GC, GC is founded in 1921. It's a very old company started by three scientists, and they started with the creation of a cement which we use, which dentists are using, while if something is get ruptured. The teeth, right? So they use those cements. That is where GC has started with, and now they have 600 dental oral care products in the market and selling in 100 countries. And some of the products like they have, I mean, they are not only into this, they are also creating braces, and also they have, the scanner, the latest tool, which is really amazing, which is like scanner. It is scanning your mouth, it is capturing the images, the 3D images, and bundling them together, and then they are creating the braces. They're using it for creating the braces, right? So earlier what we used to do is, the dentists used to do is, they are using some material, they are taking the impression and they are sending it to the laboratories. Now this is what GC is doing. They have created their own hardware solution and the software solution. So yeah, so Eric, do you want to add anything on top of it? I think this is one of their major achievements in last so many years, 600 products in the market. Anubhav, anything else?
There's a small anecdote how we started.
You
Yeah.
want to talk here on mic? That will be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those three scientists, they started by deciding they were students from a university. They had chemical degrees, and they decided we want to make something chemical. So GC means General Chemicals. Yeah, you have General Electric, General Motors, and there's General Chemicals. Right? That's us. They didn't know exactly what to do, so they said, okay, let's see. We can make mayonnaise, we can make spark plugs, or we can make cement for the teeth. And it turned out to be cement, right? So that's how we became the third largest dental company in the world, actually. Right?
That's an interesting piece,
Right.
actually. Thank you for calling that out, yeah. Um, about Material Plus, I think many of you are aware of Srijan Technologies, right? Because we are known in the Drupal community. But 1.5 years back, we were acquired by Material Plus, and it's a US-based company, and they were mainly into the qualitative or quantitative research and surveys and the marketing, branding, and design. This is their core forte. And by having us, by Srijan Technologies, under the Material umbrella, we are like end-to-end company under the same umbrella. We are designing, we are developing the solutions, we are doing the strategies and the surveys, we are doing the marketing, DevOps, and whatever you can think of, when you work with the software services industries. So we have 15 plus 100 employees, and we have around 400 tech people working from India. And other than this, India, we have people in US, UK. It's all scattered, right? So majority of people from the development stream is mainly in India. And we have offices in 12 regions. In US, we have 5 offices. We have office in UK, Australia, Singapore and India, we have one branch, which is a main core hub, for the development. Um, so yeah, I can quickly, we can quickly jump into what we are doing with GC. This is most important part of it, and everybody knows material. So I'm just going to cut short it, and we can just directly get into the digital journey of GC. Yeah. No, that's how I think you can take it.
Yeah. Thank you, Reena, and thank you, Eric. Yeah, I'll not get into details about this digital transformation, like this roadmap in particular, but as Eric said, it's 100+ years old company founded in Japan. But as every other organization who's developing and growing through the ranks, one of the thing is how you grow your digital strategy as well. And that's where GC and Material Plus collaborated together and went on to this path from 2022, where we went on the design unification of their entire branded websites that were there across the regions, and also understood that there is a need for digital transformation in terms of how the processes in Japan, particularly that we're going to see in future slides, are going to happen. So that's where we started with two tracks. One was the entire design unification, and second was how we can digitize the operations of how things are given to the users as memberships in Japan. So let me take us through an example. So what we are going to talk in today's session is particularly about a membership system. We all have memberships, right? You would have Netflix, like Spotify, Amazon Primes of the world. You must have purchased memberships. This story is about GC Dental's Japan membership, which is one of the most important membership which dental professionals have, and it's highly coveted. Now think about if you have to purchase a membership in of Netflix, what would you generally do? Like, what are the steps would follow if anybody has any answer to it? Yeah, like simple as that, right? You would just fill in your personal details and select a plan and make payment, right? That's simple as that. But how about I tell you that in Japan, if a dentist has to purchase a membership, which quote unquote is 99% of all dental professionals, if I'm not wrong, Eric. Yeah. So 97% of all dental professionals practicing in Japan or owning any dental clinic would have this membership because it's highly coveted. They get educational content. They get access to so many highly valued dental seminars, which they need to take this membership for, right? And if I were to tell you that to purchase a membership for dental professionals, which is called Tomonokai in Japan, this is the steps you have to follow. So I'm going to walk you through very slowly. A dental professional, first who has decided to buy, they would either go online or they would be approached by a dealer who would give them a physical form to fill, which will be a lengthy form first. They fill in that form then gets couriered back to GC headquarters in Japan. Or they could fill in online, which could be alternatively be sent to the team. Then the team would validate the medical credentials of the person if they are actual medical professionals, and then they would make a CRM entry for the entire user, create membership account, and then courier back the same details to the user, which would roughly take almost 3 months. Now, once a membership is created, they would then be asked to make payment. And that's where the step number 4 is, where the dental professionals would go to a bank or a nearest convenience store. So in Japan, we call it konbini stores, like 7-Elevens in the US. You would go to a convenience store, make the payment, and you get a payment slip there. And you courier it back to the GC office in Japan. And that's where your membership actually gets completed, and then you can access the content. So if you try and understand the hardship, dental professionals who have to take care of the patients, take care of rest of the other work, in addition to that, to take this membership, it's a whole 3 to 4 months process which they had to follow, and a lot of paper printing would go in, right? And this was the actual business use case that we got onto the journey when we first started with the digital transformation for the membership portal, right? And this is just one process, I tell you. This is about purchasing. Think about next year when you have to renew, you have to follow the same process. Or, say, for example, a dentist got married and they have to change their initials or surnames, for example. Again, it's a long process. You send a courier back, you get a courier received, and then some changes would happen, right? So it was all manual that was happening that they had to do. Now to digitize this entire process is where we got onto this journey, right? To start with, what you were seeing here is a simplified diagram, but with what we came from is this. This is the initial workflow we received from the Japanese team. This is actually blueprint of the architecture diagram and the workflows about how the information was navigating, right? What I mentioned in the previous slide is actually a simplified version of what the team went through. And another disclaimer, this is in English right now, but we were given in Japanese. So
There's one more thing. This is the readable version. There's another version which is scattered all over the place, which is basically impossible to navigate.
So what Eric mentioned is, just for the recording, is this is a readable version. There are 2 or 3 other versions available that had to be deciphered before we could actually get into it. Now, if you are given a task, right, as an organization, as product owners, as developers, where you have to decipher such a complicated system, and it involves a lot of different systems. So you have a system where the data is stored, the CRM, there is an ERP which is accepting payments, right? And there's notification, the couriers, the payment system. So all of those systems are integrated, but everything's manual. And and there's Excel as well, yes. And the team managing it was just 5. And if I tell you in terms of numbers, it was almost close to 100,000 dental professionals who are having this membership. And every year they have to renew it. And there would be so many cancellations happening, so many renewals happening, so many name changes, so many address changes, people changing clinics, people opening new clinics, right? So there are dozens and dozens of workflows we had to deal with. And this is just one diagram, I tell you, right? So this entire journey that we went through, these are some of the numbers. So these are, quote unquote, these are, again, disclaimer that these are guess estimates about how much we have saved. So more than 2 million plus papers were saved from being printed. So that's a sustainability impact right there in front of you. 110,000 plus couriers were saved from being sent because we completely digitized the process of making payments, making any updates to your membership. And 10,000 plus back office hours because there was a dedicated team of people managing these influx of couriers, influx of requests, and all of that were completely digitized. So some numbers just to show you the mammoth scale of this digitization exercise we did. What we also did is, as part of this, is the unification of all the other regions across GC. And we built it using the Drupal multi-site platform. So you would have always seen websites being built on Drupal. But this use case we're talking about is actually a product we built, which had all the business use cases, integrations being built inside the Drupal itself. So extending the power of Drupal is what the essence of this use case is. So we built on Drupal 10 platform this product, as well as all other 15 regions website, which we unified from design perspective. In addition to this product, we built websites, CRM integrations, subscription learning platforms, which is the Tobonokai I'm going to talk about. In addition to that, we're also building the commerce, events, and learning management systems, all out of the box from Drupal.
Just one thing I think we should not miss it is like when we started working with the Japanese team, right, they were not very confident because they were following this process from a very long time, and they were a bit hesitant. Why do we need to change this? Because if we change this, we may miss out something or the other, and it will not go well. So in order to have some sort of trust and build that trust, what we did is we did a lot of sessions with them. We did a lot of prototyping with them. We have done, discovery. We call it as a discovery in the initial stage, right? Sitting with them. Our team went to Japan, sitting with them and explaining them step by step, this is how you will do it. This is how you will get it. So it was not an easy translation. It was not an easy thing to convince them, hey, this is going to be successful and you will get a lot out of it and it will reduce your work. So I think once we went live, they were so relaxed, and I think it worked really well for them. And we could see the results going forward. But this is very important thing that it was not easy to manage this stuff.
In addition,
Yeah.
they don't speak English.
They don't speak English. Yeah, exactly. So there was a translator. Now you can understand how difficult it is. I think many of you may face this scenario, right? If you're working with Japanese people, you need a translator. You can keep a translator, but that translator can just translate, and there is a chance that that person may miss out the important part of it, right? So how he was the product manager in that project. He's still a product manager and working with other team members. They were translating in such a manner that the person was able to translate end to end whatever we were trying to convey to them. And it became, I mean, it was a struggle for initial 1 or 2 months, and then it went really live. And the important factor here is the translator. We try to keep a translator who is a bit technical, who can understand the business. So it is very important when you are going for such engagements. You have to really consider what kind of person you are bringing in. If it is a typical translator, I'm sure you will face a lot of challenge and maybe you will not get such good results. So you have to look for a person who is a bit technical and should understand the business. Then it is very easy to work with a Japanese counterpart. So that's a very important piece I wanted to highlight.
Thank you, Reena. Yeah, in the interest of time, I'll quickly skip a few slides and directly take you through this journey, right? Like, if you have to decipher the complicated diagram I just showed you, what are the steps the team would take? I'll just skip through these and first get into explaining you just a little bit more about the membership. As I said, highly coveted. Key subscribers are your dentist, your clinic owners, your hygienist, lab technicians, trainees. They buy this membership because they want to get discounts and offers on new products and new launches, new process of practicing any new thing or new techniques. So they want to stay abreast with the new changes that are happening in the dental industry. So they would like to take this membership, right? And as I said, now to decipher this, what we did is we went from this diagram to an actually simplified version, which just had few blocks in it, right? With Drupal at its core, which is actually the hosting, right? The place where actual content is created, where the end users would come in and buy a membership. A payment gateway is integrated through which they would make the payments, right? And then very well integrated with a Salesforce CRM, which would store the information about all the users, right? A very simple and logical breakdown of the entire architecture that we had. Right. Now to get to this, what we did is the first step is identifying the as-is journey. So one of the first journey that I showcased to you about how you could buy a membership. So we went into individual workflows about the as-is process, identified different systems, and what we were getting information, we tried and consume what all we used to get from the customer, and then slowly and gradually simplified and aligned with the stakeholders. And then we defined, so this is one of the journeys, and this is actual diagram where we defined how a new membership could be requested. So somebody could be coming into Drupal, right? And then once they have filled the form, they would go into payments, make the payments, and once the payment is successful, obviously, if you're going to a Combini store, there is a tag time involved of 5 days. In you get a time wherein you can complete the payment. But if you're making credit card payments, it's just real time. So we defined all these workflows about how you can renew automatically, how you can change your surnames if there are any, real time basically. So we defined all those workflows, deciphering all those journeys we had, and simplified the overall architecture. So this is probably, Eric, if you could cover, right? This is at the top is what you see is the red blocks, which were the existing systems that existed in the Tomonokai membership system. And the one below is what all we eliminated and defined as the new systems, right?
Well, some of the systems are also not proper products. They were homemade.
Yes. So some of them were actually custom built softwares, legacy softwares built in mainframes, C++ and Java, which were even difficult to maintain as well. Now there is an imminent, there's a risk as well that what will happen? Can this ever be replaced as well for organizations? So uh, we went through that as well, right? And kind of created prototypes around and proven that this will definitely work. So if you see, bulk load of systems were removed, and what we had is Salesforce, a payment gateway, and a Drupal system, right? To manage all of it. Similarly for the events as well, we managed. Uh, the journeys for this entire, as I mentioned, the first one obviously is how you capture the as is process about all the user journeys involving all the different systems, their requirements, and then clearly defining what is the vision. And then we also got a free hand from GC in terms of you are free to remove any of the system constraints. So we call it the greenfield product development. We completely removed all the constraints that were existing, defined the new business workflows with GC and the business teams, and kept customer at the forefront, and then devised the entire new business processes for memberships, how you could go. Now the new process is simple. You would simply go to the website, and I can quickly show you as well right after this. You would fill in the form. It will redirect you to a payment gateway. You fill in your bank details or credit card, and right away you get your access. Right, simple as that. Rather than you sending a courier out and then you receiving a courier with credentials to access. So all of that has been removed. Um, right, and then another important thing about this digital journey is how you define what is a system of responsibilities. Even though we knew there are so many systems, we knew for the fact that we can challenge the status quo, right, in terms of is this really needed, right? Obviously there will be resistance if you're trying to change a legacy system, but if you challenge the stakeholders saying that is this actually needed, can we just do away with it, right? With can't you do everything in Salesforce? For example, your customer data is lying at 5 different places. Let's just consolidate everything. Let's put it all into Salesforce. So that's how you optimize the workflows, and that's where you try and eliminate the systems that are involved. Right. So all the paper printing got removed. We had the API definitions created, and then defined the new workflows. Any questions so far? I'll take a pause here.
This is my question. What was the business impact? So you're about to get into it.
Great. Yeah. So the question is business impact that we'll get into. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Just a quick question. In the old system, they had to verify that the dentist was, in fact, a dentist. How do you do that in the new system?
So we created an automated way where as soon as a membership request is created, we would, so Japan, this is also a trust thing where they would accept users as they have requested for membership. But in the system, in the backend, the actual people who actually validate, they would go and just approve it right there itself, and then they would start getting access. So we have a concept of limited access users.
Gotcha.
So as soon as you get access, you've made the payment, you might get refund because you're not accepted, for example. So that's where for that brief period, users would get a limited time access to their membership, and once they're approved, they can avail discounts, get new product launches, and everything. Thanks for your question.
So once a member is in, how, what are more examples of the types of products that they could purchase?
So, Eric, you want to take that? Yes. Eric, you want to talk here?
You can buy samples. So you usually buy your products through the dealers. In Japan has a very highly segregated and structured dealer system with dealers and sub dealers and distributors, and there's a tower of layers there. But as a end user, as a professional, dental professional, you can actually buy sample quantities with big discounts through the the membership, but you can buy publications, you can buy training, events. So joining some online thing or an actual meeting like this, you can buy those things through the memberships as well.
And is that all through the same portal or through different portals?
It will be. Once the slide is gone. There are several components still under construction and planned, right? But there will be a lot more. So, for example, the events is coming. It's under construction as we speak. Learning modules, so training modules, is something that is in the roadmap for next year.
So, very good point. So, we are creating a global event management system for GC, and we are going to launch it in Japan first, and then we'll take it globally to other regions as well. So, I think this is what Eric was referring to. Once the system is in place, then we'll have to integrate it with what we have built for Japan, and similarly, we are going to integrate with other regional websites as well.
Very interesting about the event. So we all must have used Ticketmaster, right, to purchase our Coldplay tickets, for example. Um, Here in GC in Japan, if you have to buy a seminar ticket or probably uh, a ticket to a conference where they're teaching you hands-on about root canal treatment advancements that are coming in, where a dentist or famous dentist is coming in, and these are very high demand seminars which every dental professional across the world would want to join, and these are in-person hands-on trainings. And to buy that, before this digitization would happen, their dealers would actually go to their regions and send out pamphlets that this event is happening. Would you want to participate? And then same process of filling the form, taking it back, and then making the payment manually, which again takes a lot of time, right? So it's actually impacted the grassroots level about the events as well.
There is one more thing that is really important too. So what's the value for a dentist to join these events? Why would you do that? So dentists have to collect a number of points, credit points, that they have done training, joint seminars, etc., in order to keep their certifications. We are allowed, one of the organizations globally that is giving out such certification points for the dentists to keep their certifications, and that's, of course, it's a bit of a racket, but we are keeping the dentists in business as well, right? By training them on our products, which is good for us, of course.
Great. I'll quickly walk you through the impact that we generated, and if time persists, I'll also show you the application which we have been talking. So in terms of impact, as I said, old system, in terms of getting an access, it would roughly take 3 to 4 weeks, and in worst case scenarios, it could take a couple of months as well to get access hands-on to the membership. Yeah, if something goes wrong, the couriers got missed, right? Or you fill in wrong information, so that's to and fro again. And now it's real time. This is how the new design registration system looks like. You decide on what is your persona, what type of user you are. You're a dentist or a clinic owner or a technician, and then once you select it, you go through the application form and make the payment. What we also did is the updates. Previously, as I mentioned, if you have to make changes to your surnames, it would take weeks or months. Now it's all real time, right? So we have a proper account management like you have in any of your Netflix account. You would change your details. Obviously, it has their own business rules in terms of what you can change, what you cannot. So we have all those business rules, again, defined in Drupal, so that those accesses are all managed here. Dropouts, another important thing is, so every year, as I said, close to 100,000 dental professionals, some of them faces issues during renewal. So there was a 30% drop every year, which was a business challenge that we were facing, because they would send out letters that, hey, your renewal is approaching. Some of them would be on vacation, would not get it in due time. The renewals would never happen. That's lost to business and lost to consumer as well, because their experience is like, it's very difficult to purchase a membership. So there was always a 30% drop happening, and they would have to again persuade their dealers, go back again to all the people who couldn't join the membership and manually get them registered, which is a long process. And that by that time, there would be another year passing by. So renewals again, which got automated now because notifications were automated. We tried and we were able to persuade users more. We knew who are the users who have not joined, and they would send out specific mailers around that. So dropouts reduced as well. Um, and as I said at the start of the presentation, the couriers were completely removed. So in Japan, we call snail mails that goes out, courier service. So we completely removed and made it QR code based. So now even if you have to make a payment, you would get a QR code, right? If you have selected Combini, for example, take that QR code to your nearest convenience store and make the payment. So digitization of communication is something that we did as part of it. Um, Again, everything was built in Drupal as the core. As I said, business. So we didn't had any middleware, but we tried and empowered and leveraged the Drupal capabilities, and all out of the box. So we have used a lot of community modules, which I'm going to talk about, to build the entire interface. So this is the new interface that's looking like. So we have designed this as well. Now what you see here is how users would land and see the homepage content. So content would be, as Eric mentioned, could be PDFs, could be lecture reports, previous recordings, it could be articles, journals, all of those which is concerned to a specific type of user, they would get that information and consume it. Another important thing is, as I said, it was all manual. So um, fixing issues was very difficult earlier. They had to go through Excels and all the manual paperwork to find out what is wrong if somebody probably raises a complaint or complain over payments, for example, right? So everything we did it through tracking. So this is a screenshot from Drupal audit, right? So we track every user. So this is, if you see a user over here, so their entire journey from registration to login to payments, and then how the data is pushed to Salesforce, every step is captured. So we log everything so that troubleshooting is easy. And we build this all through native modules that are available in the community. So, and to sum it all, just 3 systems we've used: Drupal, Salesforce, and GMO for payments. And obviously for analytics, we're using Hotjar, Google Analytics for tracking the users. And as soon as we go along, as Eric mentioned, we'll also have the event system, the learning platform, and the personalization piece in future. These are some of the modules we have used. I won't spend too much time on it, but for e-commerce, we're using the out-of-the-box module. For payments, this is one module we contributed back to the society. So GMO payments, it's used by the NASDAQs of the world as well now. It's a module we contributed around GMO payments, how you can simply use this for taking one-time payments from the users. A very prominent payment gateway in Japan, which is already in use. Another module we contributed for how you can have layout builder and have conditional filters, which is widely used right now as well across. Salesforce integration, again, this is an out-of-the-box module that was in the community that we used. And for the events platform and the commerce platform that we are building, again, using everything that's available in the community and giving it back to the community has been our core motto. We have put a list, QR code, in case you want to look at how and what all modules we have used to actually develop this portal. We'll give you that. Lastly, through this project, this Tomonokai portal for subscriptions that we built, and all the design unification exercise that we have done for 15 plus brands across GC, we also made sure that sustainability is at our heart of our initiative. So a couple of things I want to talk about. One is how our team of solution architects are saving the resource allocation. So GC is on Azure hosting. So how we are very diligently allocating resources and optimizing it day in, day out. So they are these technical architects who would constantly monitor and make sure that the spending is less and the carbon emissions are also less. So saving on RAM, ROM, as well as databases is all optimized. So 3.2 metric tons of CO2 we have saved so far in terms of resource allocation optimization. And in terms of cost saving, we continue to optimize our storage spaces as well as Redis optimization. So that's a number on the savings that we are making. And we constantly improve on this number year on year in terms of the hosting spendings we are doing. Yep. And those are, lastly, I leave it up to you with the QR codes for the platform. So the left one is the Tomonokai platform that you can look at. And the right one is our design unification, the America platform that we have built. This is a website on the right, and the left is the product. If time persists, I can quickly show a demo of the Tomonokai portal as well. But we are open to take up questions, if any, in the meantime.
Or can you hear me?
It will be better, yeah.
Why did you choose Drupal for this project? Were there any particular reason, or
Eric, you want to talk about that?
What else would we have to use then? We decided to go on Drupal way before this, and at some point we had to move on, go to the next migration. So we had a landscape. When we started this before Drupal, it was a huge chaos because everything was organically grown in different countries, in different businesses, and it was all over the place. So we decided to standardize and unify our web platforms. And at some point, Drupal was chosen. I wasn't part of that. I didn't know Drupal. But it was chosen as our standard. Okay, good, we go with Drupal. Then I started looking for, so who can help us? Then I found them through the Drupal website, by the way. And then, so that's how we started our journey with Drupal. Then at some point, we had to move this membership platform, which is complicated, to our centralized platforms, which was then by default Drupal.
another short question? You mentioned that you will implement e-commerce in what will you use, Drupal e-commerce or something else?
So obviously Drupal is an obvious choice, but we did a POC as well with the other offerings as well. But Drupal Commerce, because GC predominantly is a B2B organization, so they don't do a lot of selling of products on the website. But for the limited use cases, specifically the orthodontics business in GC, which does sell some products, we are going to leverage Drupal Commerce because obviously since we are on that road and it's available in the community. Eric, I should mention, GC right now still is on Magento for e-commerce. And Eric can talk a little about the hardships that the team has faced maintaining a solution like Magento for e-commerce. And now we are slowly navigating towards Drupal e-commerce, which is making it things simpler because otherwise we had to keep dedicated resources who would manage Magento, who would manage the hosting, right? And all the maintenance work around Magento, which has now been replaced with Drupal e-commerce.
Is there a dollar value to the full business impact? Like just 2 million paper mailings alone could be like millions of dollars, right? So what is the actual impact? There's no measured.
Yeah,
All right.
but that's a great question actually. But definitely yes, it's definitely worth millions in terms of number, for sure. Yeah, more than that, as Eric mentioned, right? It's about the user experience. For dental professionals, that's the last thing they want to bother about. About if I have a membership, if I can attend the conference I want to go to, right?
I mean, there's a small detail. So GC is not a publicly held company. We don't have shareholders that drive us every quarter or every year, right? It's a private company. It's a family-owned company. It's $1 billion business, but it's a family-owned company, and their vision is 5 to 10 years. It's not the next quarter, and that makes it very, very different to run it as a business and to do things like this.
Sure.
So I understand, like it's a global company, so you have all these different markets, and you have a global platform. And it sounds like the Japanese model is a very specific use case for the way that they do work. And I imagine there's other markets that have the same thing. So how do you balance what you're creating centralized and what are these areas or sites that are decentralized?
Eric, you want to take that?
So there are things that are different, but at the foundation, things are very the same, right? So we have a Japanese membership system which is very established, and we have 100,000 professionals as members. However, in Europe, we also have a membership system, right? And it is operated in a very different way because these things have grown completely. They have never been joined except from being owned by the same family. They have grown separate lives. So it's now our job to sort of bring back the foundation. Maybe on top is something else that it looks different and it's presented different, right? But at the foundation, they're all the same. They need accounts, they need services, they need payments, right? And that is really part of our strategy to get a common foundation, but maybe on top something that is presented in a different way.
Yeah.
So you're reusing as much as you can and then branch off for
Yeah,
specific needs.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to add what Eric mentioned, one of the other aspect is we are going to reuse what we have built in Japan, and that's what our core notion was. So since this is a resource, right? You're getting a repository of videos and content. It is same in Europe as well. So we are just molding this as a learning platform. We have an SSO for credentials. We have the payments where you can get access to, and it's just the same use case. And we're going to leverage it for all the other regions to follow. So that's the idea. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So if you have any other questions or, sorry, we couldn't go through the demo, but feel free to access our portal. We are here downstairs at the booth at Material Plus. Do stop by if you have any other questions, want to talk in more details about the project. And we are more than happy to walk you through. Thanks a lot and have a lovely evening, everyone.